So what is induction of labor? By definition wise, if it is stimulation of uterine contractions before the onset of spontaneous labor, that is with or without the rupture of membrane. This is the definition suggested by, it is present in William Ofson Guiney 24th edition, that is the reference. So what do we want from a normal pregnancy? We want every pregnancy to have a happy ending. So we will be going case wise, how we are going to manage a case whenever the patient comes for termination of the pregnancy. So first of all, whenever a patient comes to us, so we have to see whether she is a candidate for induction of labor, whether there is any contraindication for vaginal delivery, because once we are inducing any patient, it means that she has to undergo a vaginal delivery. So we have to rule out contraindications for vaginal delivery, and then we have to assess if there is any contraindication and what method we are going to use for induction of labor of that patient. Suppose if we go by this patient, she is G2A1 with 40 weeks of gestation, she is Rh negative and she has come to you for the first time. She says ki she has completed her EDD. So what to do with this patient? So she is G2A1, 40 weeks by gestation, Rh negative. If we go by 40 weeks, so she has completed her period of gestation, she is Rh negative, that has got a 1 high risk factor with her. Now how to assess this patient? So we will be ruling out any contraindication. So after this we see she is Rh negative, completed 40 weeks, so she is a candidate for induction of labor. Then how to do about that? We have to see what is her indication, like she is 40 weeks of gestation, completed her term, she is Rh negative, so definitely she is a candidate for induction of labor. So whenever a patient comes to you, what all we have to do? We have to note all the prelims of the patient like name, wife of, date, time. Now we have to assess by her LMP the period of gestation. First is by LMP, if she is sure of her dates. Then if not, we have to go by her sonography, his first ultrasound scan, the first trimester scan that is done in the first trimester, that goes with the CRL, that is the best dating scan. So otherwise, if she has got any scan that is done before 20 weeks of gestation, that will make us more sure of her period of gestation. So we have to confirm her period of gestation whether by LMP or by the first trimester ultrasound. Now we have to take a proper history. History wise, we have to take the history of her present pregnancy, her previous pregnancy, her medical condition and any history of surgery or any allergy. We have to review her risk factors. Now we have to redetermine her indication for induction of labor. Now we have to plan for her induction of labor, how to go for induction, what method to use. Then after we have decided that we are inducing this patient and we have devised the method also, then we have to take a proper consent from the patient and her attendant, preferably the husband. After explaining them that what can be the consequences. Suppose we are inducing one patient and what can be, she can expect a normal vaginal delivery, she can undergo a cesarean section in case of failed induction, there are chances of fetal distress, so we have to explain each and everything to that patient. Now once we have induced the patient, we have to go for continuous CTG monitoring, that is assessment of the fetal heart rate and the maternal condition. So after taking a proper detailed history, we will go for the examination of the patient. First of all the general physical examination, then the PA and the PV examination. Suppose on PA examination we find that there is a scar, like she has undergone a previous cesarean section, then in that case we have to assess her previous ops history, what was the indication for her cesarean section, if there is any OT notes available, we have to go for that, because what type of the scar it was given, what was the indication, whether it was recurrent or a non-recurrent indication, then we have to decide accordingly. Then we have to see for any contraindication for induction of labor in that patient. So we have to know that what are the scars that are contraindications for the labor. Suppose if the patient has undergone a myomectomy or a classical cesarean section, then it becomes a contraindication for a induction of labor, because you know the upper segment scar, they heal very poorly rather than a normal scar at the lower segment. Now we have decided that we are going to induce this patient. So how to go about it? What method to use? Whether what are the chances of her going into labor? So that will be assessed by using the Bishop score. So in Bishop score, we actually see the cervical condition. What is the dilatation of the cervix? This Bishop score gives these dilatation, effacement, or the length, the consistency, the position, and the head station. Each point is given scores 0, 1, 2, 3, and we have to finally calculate total Bishop score of that patient by calculating and numbering all these as parameters of the patient. Suppose the patient is os is closed, so we will be giving a 0 score to her, and there is no effacement, then the score will be 0. If the consistency of the cervix is firm, it will be 0 score, and position if it is posterior, because anterior position is a favorable condition. So if the position of the cervix come from posterior to anterior, it becomes a favorable condition, and from 0 the score goes to 2. Now the head station, if the head is very high, it is -3. So it is 0 score. If it is -2 station, it is 1 score. If it is at -1 or 0, it is +2 score. So after calculating all these parameters, after noting all these parameters and scoring them, we finally calculate the final Bishop score. This is the modified Bishop score. If the patient is preeclamptic, we add 1 point to that, because preeclamptic patient, if they are induced, they are more likely to go into labor. And these are some disfavoring feature, then we subtract a 0.1, so that makes the Bishop less by 1 point. So now coming up to the case 3. This is a primary gravida patient, 37 weeks of gestation. Our USG report is suggestive of that the fetus is having a mild asymmetrical IUGR and there is AFI is 5. So whether she is a candidate for induction of labor? Yes, because she is 37 weeks having mild asymmetrical IUGR. There is a lag of approximately, suppose if it is more than 4 weeks, the AFI is 5. So she is a candidate for induction of labor. Now what method to use? This will be decided. She is a candidate and there is no contraindication because she is primary, no previous seizure, and then we have to decide that what method we should use. By looking at the parameters of the patient, one thing more that we have to assess the pelvis, because if the pelvis is adequate, then only the patient will be allowed to go for induction of labor, otherwise she is not. So we have to assess the pelvis, we have to assess the cervix by using the Bishop score, that which method we are going to use for induction of that patient. Once we have induced that patient, then we have to monitor the mother and the fetus both for a favorable outcome. We have to counsel, that we have already discussed, for the expected complications. Now this is another patient. She is 33-year-old, G2P1L1, 38 weeks gestation. She is diabetic. We are going problem wise so that we should get a proper understanding of the topic, right? So this is, she is gestational diabetes mellitus. She is controlled on insulin. As you all know that gestational diabetes mellitus patient can be controlled on MNT, that is medical nutrition therapy, and on glucose, also on insulin also, and this patient is without any other complication. So a patient who has undergone a previous normal delivery, she has completed 36 weeks gestational diabetes mellitus, controlled on insulin, then at 38 weeks she is a candidate for induction of labor, because after that there are more chances of sudden IUDs. So we have ruled out any, we have confirmed that she is a candidate. Now we have to rule out any contraindications. So we have to do a PE examination. In that we will assess the fetal weight, the lie, and the presentation. In PV we will again reassess the Bishop score. So if the patient, the baby is in cephalic presentation and the Bishop is favorable, then we have to go for a planned induction of the labor. Now coming up to the this patient only. So which favored method of induction? So there are various methods by which we can induce a patient, like we can use prostaglandins like Saviprime gel, misoprostol. Each and every method has got its your contraindications and indication, like favoring points and disfavoring points. So otherwise we can go for mechanical induction also by using a Foley's catheter. So all the patients who are induced, they have to undergo a partographic management of labor, like the fetus and the mother both are to be monitored. The progress of labor is to be monitored. On partograph we have two lines, that is, one is action line, one is alert line. So whenever our labor progresses from action on right side of the action line, alert line, then we have to do some action, and if it goes beyond the action line, then we have to terminate our induction. So if the patient is controlled on diet, then she can go for till 40 weeks. So how long we can go, that we have already discussed, that we have to manage the patient on partograph, and if we are falling on the left side of the alert line, then the progress is fine. If we are going on right side of the alert line, then we have to do some action to make the progress of labor proper. And if we are going on right side of the action line, then we have to terminate our trial. So we have to decide when to terminate our trial of labor, and we have to, terminating a trial of labor means that we have to go for a emergency LSCS in that condition. So we have to be ready for any failure of induction. We should not be very adamant. We have to reassess the patient again and again whether our induction is working or not. If she has already gone into labor, then we have to assess her for non-progressive labor, because both of these are the indication for an emergency LSCS. And the patient again, due to some obstetrical indication, like if the patient develops fetal distress during the induction of labor or during the progress of labor, then we have to again go for emergency LSCS in that patient. Now coming up to the case 5, she is G2P1L1, 39 weeks, previous LSCS 3 years back for fetal distress with mild preeclampsia, this time 113/90, controlled on lobate. So first of all, we have to assess that whether she is a candidate for induction of labor. She is G2P1L1, 39 weeks, previous seizure due to fetal distress. So the indication for the previous seizure was a fetal distress. So it is a non-recurrent indication, like it is not definite that the fetal distress will be occurring this time also. So she can go, because she is having a non-recurrent indication for previous cesarean section, so she can go for trial of labor this time. And she is mild preeclampsia, controlled BP on labetalol, so definitely she is a candidate. So we have to do a PA examination, we have to see the scar. If from ops history, if we have the operative notes, we should also scroll them to see what type of incision on the uterus was given, whether because it was an emergency LSCS. So we have to assess the operative notes also, and after looking at the lie, presentation of the baby, the weight assessment, then we have to do a PV examination, that to assess the Bishop score of the patient. If it is favorable Bishop score is if the Bishop score is favorable, then chances of successful induction of labor are more. Now coming up to the problem 6, she is G3P2 L2, 37 weeks pregnancy with decreased fetal movement from 3 days. USG suggestive of 35 weeks of fetus in breech presentation with oligohydramnios. So we have to assess whether she is a candidate for induction of labor or not. She has undergone previous 2 normal deliveries. She is 37 weeks, like she has almost reached the age of maturity, fetal maturity, but she is complaining of decreased fetal movement. The USG suggestive of IUGR, there is a lag of 2 weeks, and the AFI is also 4. The baby is in breech presentation. So breech baby with the oligo, there are more chances that the baby will not descend with the onset of contraction. So we have to again, if ever we are going for the induction of labor in this patient, so we have to assess the fetal weight, because we are giving this trial because she has undergone previous to normal delivery. So if the baby pelvis is adequate and the baby weight is not more, then we can go for Privy assessment for assessing her Bishop score. If the Bishop score is poor, like the os is closed, the cervix is firm, then we will not like to go induction in this patient, then we will go for cesarean section stat. But if the Bishop is very favorable, then we can induce this patient with a close monitoring of the mother, fetus and the labor. So this was our total discussion for induction of labor. That was case based. I hope you all have understood the topic. Thank you.